How's it going, guys? Kenneth here and Kerry just in the background over there. Say hello, Kerry.
Hi.
And little Pepper over there. So in today's episode, there's two things that are going on. I'll be planting more seeds again, basically. And Kerry is busy weeding the beds, but she's also collecting stinging nettle, and the reason for that is you can make a really good fertilizer with it by soaking it in water for a couple of weeks and using a concentration of that liquid that's left in normal water and watering your plants with it. It's really high in iron and minerals and all that sort of stuff that plants sort of like to grow. But it's a really good way of making cheap fertilizer at home without having to spend loads of money. In the English countryside, you'll find stinging nettles everywhere. So if you don't have any in your garden, you could get some gloves, get a bag, go for a walk in the countryside somewhere and just pick a whole bunch. As long as you're doing it on someone's land, they don't mind you picking stuff, and you know, you're not breaking any laws by doing so. You never know, you might just upset someone. But so that's what it's going to be about today, how to make some cheap fertilizer at home. And I'm just going to show you guys some more seeds that we're planting, getting ready to go in the ground. But these little things that were really cheap in the shop, I thought I'd give them a go. They're a lot more sturdier than the egg cartons, so plant some stuff in there. I'm going to try some beetroot directly into there. It does say, you know, sow outside April to July, but I'm just a bit worried that the weather's still not that great. So I'll plant one tray of beetroot, see how they go, and we can just put them straight into the soil when they're a bit bigger. In here, I'm going to do 10 of these little pots of dwarf French beans, and this is another variety that I'll do in these 10 pots. So I'll plant them in there first, and again it says you can you sow under glass and then plant out in May. So I'll get these ready now, and some more courgettes. And then the courgettes we're just planting in old vegetable packs. So I think we had mushrooms in these. Just bear in mind I poked some little holes, you can't see them, some little holes in the bottom, just so there's a bit of drainage, and I'm going to plant a couple of courgette plants in each of those. In this black container or black pot, I've just got basically some all-purpose compost and a bit of soil. So I haven't been like massively particular about what soil or what compost it is. It's just a general one, and that should be okay to start it off, you know, in its germination. See how Kerry's doing. Weather's not that great today. It's definitely not compared to last week. It's not too cold though, so that's okay. So Kerry's been making little sections for herbs. She's used some of the offcuts of the pellets we had and basically just cordoned them off, put a bit of compost in there, and she's in the process right now of planting them. So explain what you're doing.
I feel like I'm making a pot noodle. I've got to sow them. And then cover them with fine soil. Pepper's helping.
So what are you planting there?
This is coriander.
And then what are you going to do in the other two?
Basil and parsley.
So like I said in one of the earlier episodes, what I'm trying to do, or what we're trying to do, is get better at vegetable gardening in the way that we can learn about planting things spaced out so that we can have them all season long. Because you know, I was speaking to a friend last night, and he was saying a while back he had an amazing garden. He's from Cornwall. He said they planted, you know, all these things, and they just basically all had so much that they either went off or they only had like 1 week's worth of food. And the first time I ever grew vegetables, the exact same thing happened to me. And it's just because I think everyone gets so excited, they jump into it, and you just end up planting loads of stuff. But if you plan it properly and just do it bit by bit, and start off with a few items, it just becomes a lot easier to cope and to work it out in your head. And he even said that last night. He's like, oh, I really want to start gardening, but I'll do it bit by bit. So like maybe with, you know, tomatoes and another vegetable. And that's probably the best way to go about it. People are busy these days. Everyone's got busy lives. They've got work, jobs, friends, relationships, all that kind of thing. And if you want to do vegetable gardening, it does take time, and you need to commit to it. And if you just go into it gung-ho, it could get overwhelming. So that's why it's taking so long for us to plant stuff. Like, we started planting seeds weeks ago, but every week I'm just doing a tiny bit more. Some of it's worked, some of it hasn't, and that doesn't really matter. But you know, we're taking our time, and you know, we've got the whole of summer, and the stuff that we don't plant or don't get around to planting, we'll just start moving on to winter varieties. You know, it's all a learning curve. You know, I've been growing vegetables for a couple of years, and I don't always get it right, but every single year we learn something new, like about when to plant things. And it's just like with these, not all of them were successful, but I learned that it was probably too cold to plant some of the things out, like the tomatoes, so hardly any of those have sprouted. But we'll plant some more, and you know, hopefully those will do better, because the weather's warmer now, and next year we'll know that we shouldn't be planting tomatoes that early in the season unless it's inside where it's really warm. But it just takes waiting a few weeks and planting them then, and hopefully the second batch will do better. So sorry for waffling on for ages. Time to get these beans in. Doesn't really say how to plant them, but what I'm going to do is just make a depression in these little pots, you know, about up to my first knuckle, like that, in each of them, seed in each one. So just going to cover them all over now. Push down gently on all of them, just make it a bit compact. Those are all the French dwarf beans. Down here, some more French dwarf beans, the courgettes in those, tomatoes, and the beetroot. Now, so I'm still using this bottle. I don't want to displace too much of the soil. Okay, so that's it for the planting seeds for today. They're all watered, just ready to go basically. So we'll just keep watching those over the next couple of weeks, and hopefully now that the weather's gotten a bit warmer, they will sprout a bit quicker than all these other ones did. So like I said, the other part of this episode was making some fertiliser for free basically at home. And the reason I thought we would do this is it's a handy tip first of all, but we had some nettles in the garden. and to be honest, they actually make really good plants for insects and bees. So before Kerry pulled those up, there was a few bees kind of buzzing around them, and she said she felt a bit guilty about pulling them up. But you know, we've got loads of other things in here or in the garden that attract the bees, so we're planting loads of sort of wildflowers later on in the season as well. So basically what you need is an old bucket. It could be a watering can, you know, a fermentation bucket, anything like that, and you put the nettles in it. Just be aware obviously that they're called stinging nettles for a reason. So you know, they will sting you if you don't wear gloves, and it's not like the end of the world. It kind of hurts a bit and burns for a while, and it does go away eventually, but obviously it's not very pleasant. So what you need to do is get it into a bucket, kind of break them up a bit, just squish them together, you know, bend the stems, and what you'll be left with is some crushed up nettles like that. Now obviously if you have a bigger bucket, you're going to want to use more. Basically fill the bucket with water, okay, so there's two reasons why I brought the bucket to the back. The main reason is I've never made this before, but I've read and been told that it smells quite gross. So we obviously want to keep it away from the house and our neighbours' houses. We don't really want to smell this gross stuff. But the other reason is there's actually some nettles growing at the back here. So I'm just going to pick them and put them in there as well. You know, may as well use them while they're here. Okay, so I'm just using an old piece of timber to push it all down, get it stay towards the bottom. And then what you will do is just cover it up and leave it for a couple of weeks. And once we've got to that stage, I'll show you guys how it looks. I'll try to describe the smell and explain to you how to use it then. Just pop it on and close it and leave it for a couple of weeks. Yeah, so that's it for this week, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Hope you enjoyed this episode and you got something useful from it. Next week I will be working on the back of the polytunnel and getting that ready, you know, to plant some of the veg that can go straight outside. I don't know what Kerry will be doing. She'll find something to do. She'll be planting seeds as well. Yeah, thanks for watching. Leave a like and a comment, and if you want to carry on watching videos like this, please subscribe. We will see you guys next week. See you later.
Bye.